Okay, now we will look at a step-by-step process on how to create a cultivation menu and sample cultivation plants for donors. So we're going to start with step one, which is an opportunity for you to itemize all the possible donor engagement activities that are available to you. So here's a sample list of typical engagement and cultivation opportunities, and you can use that list and identify which ones are easily available to you and which ones you may need to create, or you can use your own list and think about what could be done that's interesting in your organization. So visits with fundraisers, with senior leadership, that's fairly standard, and high impactful activities, so our newsletters, perhaps event attendance if that's an opportunity, the type of volunteering that may be available, some customized communication, speaking engagements, awards, and interviews and features, anything that you can think of that would engage a donor and involve them more with the organization would go in here. Once you've created this list and have identified at least 5 or 10 different opportunities, then you would look to rank them in terms of the type of impact that they are having in that relationship. So for example, a meeting with senior leadership could be 5 points versus a newsletter, which is a lot more passive as an engagement opportunity, could be a 1 point. So list your top 5 favorite activities, your most accessible 5 in-person interactions, and 3 communications vehicles that you'd like to use. So identify the ones that are going to be your go-to, but also make sure that you have a nice mix of high-value activities that are, for example, in this case, a 5-point scale, a 5, and some medium and some low as well, so that you can mix it up a little bit. So once you've listed those favorites and you've identified your most accessible 5 in-person interactions and your 3 best communication vehicles, at this point you're going to identify 2 or 3 program delivery staff or service recipients who can speak to donors about their work. So those can be your partners that can really showcase the work that your organization does and bring it to life. So identify 2 or 3 of those that you could use from time to time, depending on what you're hoping to accomplish. After you've done all of that work and you've compiled the background on all of these activities, you want to identify your top 5 donors. And for each donor, create a customized 12-month engagement plan, mixing up the activities listed above. So include some timelines and identify the most important milestones. Identify that optimal solicitation time that we talked about and work back from that. And ideally, that solicitation point should really be about 9 months or so, with at least 3 in-person engagements. But again, it's not really a hard math. It varies greatly from donor to donor. These are just some guidelines. Once you've done it for your top 5 donors, you might want to repeat this and consider this for as many donors as you'd like, but keep in mind the amount of effort it's going to take you to execute them, and how many you can reasonably deliver on. And make sure you're not doing the same thing with donors all the time, so that you're going to get exhausted from the same. So if you're giving tours, you don't want to be giving a tour every day, for example, for a whole month. So you want to mix this up a little bit and ensure that there's some continuity and stagger it so that there's a nice mix of engagement with staff. And so here's how this could come to life with an example for a fictional charity called Jillian's Place Women's Shelter. So as you can see, we've listed a number of activities to take. This is in a calendar approach. It does not have to be in a calendar approach, but it gives you a pretty good idea of what we're hoping to accomplish. And you notice so that solicitation threshold where we know that it's time for us to start thinking about proposing an ask. So this is what this could look like. So think through what those activities are for you and make a list. And if you listen to the other sessions, you'll find a lot more detailed information about the considerations you need to give for each activity. And then there's also a sample cultivation plan that you can download that will give you an example for that same women's shelter.